Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to you out there. My name is Tunde Disu, and you are very welcome on this wonderful Thursday evening to this platform, Become a Better Man. Become a Better Man. Thank you so much for setting this time aside for us to share life together, for us to learn new skills and tap into the wisdom of God as we continue on this our journey of discovery. You see, on this platform, we focus majorly on life skills. What are those things that we need to add to what we already have in order for us to arrive at our desired destination, in order for us to become all that we are destined to become? You see, the Bible talks about it is the small vines, as it is the small this thing that spoils the vines. And usually it's these little things that we don't know, that they creep up on us, they disable us, they make us unable to fulfill our purpose. And that is why this platform is so special to my heart, and I believe to yours as well, because one of the things we do here is to find out what is that missing link, what is that missing ingredient, what is that I can add to myself, become a better person. How can I add value to myself? How can I add weight and stature to myself so that I can actually fulfill the purpose for which I am here on earth? So this is a platform that is a blessing to me, and I believe to all of you out there. So you are welcome on this special day. It is another opportunity for us to look at what are some of the things that we need to take on board so that we can fulfill the purpose of God. On today's program, we're looking at another life skill that we really need to bring into effect in our lives so that we can all become better. And on today's platform, we're looking at social behaviors. Social behaviors. Social behaviors. And when you hear social behaviors, what exactly does that mean? What are we talking about? What are we pointing at? Fatima Buki Salako, thank you. Omalabake Laololaye, thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for all of you that have already joined. Let's quickly, at the beginning, go and click the share button. Let's start sharing it so that it can be a blessing to others. So when you hear the word social behavior, what exactly are we talking about? In the first place, we are all social, well, in a layman's term, we are all social animals. We are all involved in one way or another in interacting with other people, and that's all it's about. It is the general conduct that is exhibited by you and I within the norms, the acceptable norms of the society. Things that we do that other people find accepted or are acceptable to them, or that they accept as the dictate, the norm, the way things should be done in a society. So that's what social behavior is all about. It's doing things the way they should be done, behaving, acting, and responding within the confine of a society in the way it should be. If you've noticed lately, there is what is called ASBO. ASBO, which is something that the government had to bring about some few years ago to counter the effect of antisocial behaviors. ASBO simply means antisocial behavior order. And anybody that's been given an ASBO means you have a tag. There's a limit to where you can go. There's a limit to when you can go out, when you can come in, and all of that. So that tells us that social behavior is something that is paramount, that's important, that carries a lot of weight, because one man's health is the health of the community. And on the flip side, one man's ill health is the ill health of the whole community. All it takes is one person to misbehave, and then the whole community suffers from that one person's action. So social behavior is what we do, how we interact with other people within the confine of a community, of a family, of a friendship, of a relationship, of a society, within the dictates of acceptable norms. The type of human behavior that primarily determines how we interact one with another, how we relate one to another, how we value each other, how we respect and honor the diversity amongst us without lording it over each other or causing discomfort or disharm to somebody else. That is what social behavior is all about. It is the general acceptable conduct, the way we do things that is generally acceptable within a civilized society. It is the interaction among individuals, normally within the same species. For instance, the social behaviors among human beings is different from the social behaviors among birds, among monkeys, among elephants and lions, and every group of species have their own acceptable norm of how to relate, and that is what social behavior it's all about. The good thing about social behavior is that none of us is immune from it, because we all learned it primarily through three main sources. The primary, the basic, the ground zero of learning about social behavior is the home. From the time a child is raised, the training and teaching the child about respect, about honor, how to say please, how to say yes ma, yes sir, how to say excuse me, how to say sorry, how to say thank you. Those are the basic principles of social behaviors. Things that we learn from our home and we grow up with them. Also, social behaviors are learned from schools. You go to school, you are taught how to relate with other children, how to relate to your school teacher, how to relate to people in authority over you. And the general public also teaches us, or will learn from the general public, more of these social behaviors. Things that we've learned from home, things that we've learned from school, they are all brought together so that when we are now within the confine of a wider society, we are able to function within the parameters of the acceptable norm of the society. And that's what social behavior is all about. By and large, social behavior is a product of our environment, because like I said, we learn it from home, we learn it from school, and we learn it from the general public. A lot of how we learn and interact with other people usually are developed in our youth. We develop these things as we grow up, as we step out of the house into school, and gradually, and as we grow up, we're learning and increasing the skills that is required as far as social behavior is concerned. In some people, they develop an extrovert tendency. They are the life of the party. They are they are the clown of the class. They are the life of every group where they are. They bring life. They are interactive. They are jovial. They are casual. They are everything. At the same time, there are some people that are introvert. They just want to be by themselves, and they are happy. They have no issues with that. Or some people they just likable. They don't even need to strive or make any attempt to make friends. People just gravitate towards them to be their friend. And some of these will grow with you as you grow up. However, the challenge comes when you go past that stage of learning, or that stage of a child, a toddler, a teenager, a youth. Now you are an adult. Now you are an adult. The first question then that you will need to ask yourself and answer sincerely as far as social behaviors are concerned is, those your old patterns of doing things, those your old ways of doing things, those your old social behavioral skills, are they still relevant today? At this level, at this age, at your current status? Are the things you used to do when you were young, are they still relevant? Can you still do them? Are they still acceptable within the status of where you are today? For instance, let me give a personal example. When I was growing up back in Nigeria, there's a group of us that were very good friends, and one of the things we do is every time we meet or we see each other, the first thing you do is you punch each other like 2-3 times. And for us, it's fine. That's the way we relate at that stage. But I can't imagine seeing any of those guys today and then we start punching each other. It just won't look right. It will not look appropriate at this age, at this level, at this time of the day, to now start doing what we did when we were 15, 16. It just will look out of place. So those, at that time, it was acceptable. It was normal. It was fine. We don't even think about it. But right now, you have to think twice and ask yourself, what if the wife is looking? What about his children? You don't know. And immediately you raise you raise the bar of your social interaction with that person, with such people, so that you are not reverting back to the way it used to be. You, as you grow older, you also raise the level of your social behavioral skills. Unfortunately, unless you actively, consciously, and proactively pay attention to your social skills and social behaviors, there are reasons why those old habits will grow with you, why those old habits will come with you into your adulthood without you even recognizing that they don't fit anymore. And I'll give you 3 reasons why it is almost possible, it is easy for those old habits from the youth to grow up with you and slip into your adulthood, and you are almost out of kill. The first reason is those things have become part of you. You do them now without even thinking. It's a default setting. You are comfortable. It has become your area of operation. You are very comfortable doing them. You don't even think about it. And usually when somebody pulled such people up to say, come on, don't need to do that. I mean, we've gone past that now. And then it is not uncommon to hear people respond and say, well, that's just the way I am. I can't change. I mean, that's the way I've always done it. No, you can change. You can change. And it is good for you and for the relationship you have to grow and change those things. So that's the first reason why people they will still continue in the old pattern. Number 2 reason is because those things work in the past, especially among your friends and your family. They used to you. They used to seeing you that way. They used to hearing your jokes. The same jokes you've been saying for the past, since Noah was a boy, and you're still expecting people to laugh about it and all of that. But because those people around you, your friends, your family, they're used to you doing that, they don't even think that it is out of place at this level for you to be doing the same thing. They don't see it. And because they don't see it, they just thought, no, that's him again. And they don't pay any attention. So that's the second reason. The third reason why people grow with that old social habit is because it is easy for us to perceive that what we are doing, the way we are relating, the way we are connecting, the way we are interacting with other people, people can see and receive it the way we are giving it out. We usually have a fairly high opinion of ourselves. And so because of that, we just believe that what we are doing is acceptable to the other person without thinking that there needs to be a change. So the first question we ask ourselves was the old habit, the old behavioral skills, the old pattern, the old way of doing it. Are they still relevant at this level, at this stage, at this point of your life? So that's the first question you need to ask yourself as far as social behavioral skills are concerned. The second question, which I think it's even more important than the first one, is that you need to ask yourself, do others, the people in my life, the people I interact and relate to, do they see me differently from the way I see myself? Do they hear me differently from the way I hear myself? Do they perceive me differently from the way I perceive myself? Now, so some of you might think, what's the point of that? As long as I'm happy, then that's their problem. Well, that's the wrong attitude there, because you don't interact and relate to yourself. You are interacting and relating to other people. It is therefore very, very important. In fact, it is required of you to always have at the back of your mind the people at the receiving end of what you're saying, what you're doing, what you're thinking, the way you're acting, the way you're responding. There is a second party on the other side, and it is required of you. It is part of the etiquette of conversation, of relationship, that you must bear them in mind when you do those things. So the second question, which I said is vital, if not more important than the first one, is you need to ask yourself, do other people see me differently from the way I see myself? You know, the Bible talks about do not have an over-exaggerated opinion of yourself. It didn't say don't have an opinion of yourself. It didn't even say don't have exaggerated opinion about yourself. But it said don't have an over-exaggerated opinion about yourself. And that is exactly what this is pointing to. Quickly, I'm going to give you some actions, the way you see it and the way others actually see it, because it is a very fine line. It's a very gray area, and if you're not careful, you cross the line without even knowing it, and then you wonder why your friends are not comfortable around you, or they see you and they have a reason why they can't talk to you. They see you, they have a reason why they can't stay with you. They won't go out with you. When they go out with you, they are not comfortable, they are restless, and all of that. These are some of the things. I just want to roll out some examples of the way you say it, or what you do, and what you think you are doing, and how other people are perceiving or receiving it. Let's just go through a few of them. It will just shine some light on the point I'm trying to make here. The first one, this is what you do. You share what's on your mind. You just say what's on your mind. Now, when you do that, you are thinking, you are interesting, you are offbeat, you are just real. But the people may be perceiving you to be self-centered, to be inappropriately addressing the issue, to be eccentric. Now, you think you are being just yourself, you are being interesting, being casual, being jovial, but they are seeing it differently. Remember, communication is a two-way thing. If you are saying or doing and the other party is not hearing or receiving to the level where they can respond back to you, and the two of you will come to an equilibrium point of understanding, you haven't communicated. Now, that is one of the biggest issues in marriages, where the husband and the wife think they are communicating, when in actual fact they are just talking. He said, and she didn't understand that, didn't get the full picture, and then she responded, and he's thinking, no, that's not what I said, and she's saying, no, that's what I heard. And unless you come to a point where the two of you can see eye to eye, come to a level at a point where you can understand each other, it's a breeding ground for trouble. The second one, you show little attention to your grooming, your style, the way you carry yourself, the way you dress, the way you look, your hair, your beard, the shoes you wear, the way you hang, everything around you. You just think, well, I'm cool, I'm confident, I'm just myself. But the other people are thinking, come on, guy. pay some attention. Do something about yourself. You are socially unaware. You are careless. Let me use an example. I have two cousins. One studied in the UK, one studied in the US when I was back in Nigeria. And about the same time, the two of them came back to Nigeria. And in the morning, when they are going to work, the guy from the UK will put his shirt on the bed, his trousers, his jacket, and he will lay out maybe 3 or 4 different ties and will be asking, which of these ties will go with this? And we could spend the next 10-15 minutes debating on which tie goes with this shirt and all of that. But my other cousin from the US, he just grab what is in his wardrobe, slap it on, and off he goes. So one day I asked him, I said, I've noticed these differences between the two of you, even though you've obviously both been studying abroad. So what is the root cause of it? And the guy in the UK said, look, you have to be conscious of how you look when you go out. And the guy from the US said, what does it matter? As far as I'm comfortable, that's what matters to me. And immediately you can see that to the US guy, no issues. But to the UK guy, there is a lot of issues here. And you have to be able to draw a line where the difference is. Another example is you focus only on one topic. You talk only about one topic. And to you, it's because you are passionate about that topic. You are well versed in it. So you want to drill it home. But to the other people that are hearing you, to the people you are relating to, they're thinking, oh boy, you are boring. You are so boring. You even lack curiosity. You don't want to grow outside of your comfort zone. Now, you can begin to see that even though you are doing this with a mindset that this is what you are putting out, but to the people receiving it, it's a different story. It's a different story. So, unless the two of you can see eye to eye, come to a point where you can relate, you haven't communicated. You have not communicated. So, even though you are working in the way you think you are doing your things the way you feel about it, you must carry the other person in your mind. The important thing here in all of this that I'm saying is self-examination exercise. Examine yourself. Ask yourself, where is the gap between what I'm saying and what you are hearing? What I'm doing and what you are receiving? Where is the gap? And once you identify the gap, it is expected, it is required, it is a responsibility on your part to tweak it, to change it, to make amends. And that is one of the fundamental requirements of a socially acceptable behavior in any society. Once you notice that you are out of kilt with everybody, then go and tweak it. Don't expect the whole world to change just to fit within your mold. You change so that the world can enjoy your comfort. It's very common that your social behavior do come off differently than you realize. Then make amends about it. Make amends about it so that you can enjoy the relationship that you have with other people. Please, if you have not shared this program, let me encourage you to go and share it. Thank you, Ted, for joining us. Rita, thank you. Femi Akerele, thank you for joining us, and all the others that have joined in between while I was talking. Thank you so much. Please, if you have not shared this program, let's quickly go and share it so that it can be a blessing to others. Now, let us look at, in every interaction, in every relationship, in every form of social contact and connection, especially when it comes to interaction, either verbal or physical, there are 4 major mindsets that guide the way we relate. 4 major mindsets. Now, out of these 4 major mindsets, 3 of them are really not very beneficial. They really don't add any positive upliftment to our relationships and our interaction. But the funny thing is, we all default naturally to those three. The fourth one, which is the one that adds real value and real benefit to us, we struggle with it. Can you believe that? That is the one we all struggle with. It takes conscious and deliberate effort to remain within the parameters of that fourth one that will give you abundant blessing. So quickly, let us look at these four mindsets, the three that have negative result, and the one that gives abundant positive result. Remember, before we go into this, I think it's important for me to make this point. Remember, when we talk about social behavior, it revolves around your interaction with other people, either in a small group, on a one-to-one, or on a larger scale. Social behavior is all about your interaction with other people. I want us to have that at the back of our minds as we go into looking at what are these four mindsets, what are those three that have negative connotations, and what is this one that we all need to work on and take on board. So these four major mindsets, they are four focuses that people adopt, and typically we switch between them at various points during the course of conversation, interaction, relationship with others. We switch and swap and all of that in between. However, these four mindsets are the areas where we really interact and relate to others. The first mindset is how you feel about yourself in any contact, in any interaction, during any conversation, in any relationship. How do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about yourself? The second mindset is how do you feel about the other person? How do you feel about the other person that you are relating to, that you are in contact with, that you are interacting with? How do you feel about the person? And we will dig deep into each of this one. The third one is how is the other person? How do they feel about you? The person that you are interacting with, you're relating to, how do they feel about you? And the fourth one is how does the other person feel about himself or herself as a result of this contact and this interaction that they are having or they've just had with you? How do they feel about themselves? So the first one is how do you feel about yourself in the course of interaction? The second one is how do you feel about the other person in the course of your interaction? The third one is how does the other person feel about you during the course of interaction? And the fourth one is how does the other person feel about themselves in the course of your interaction? Generally, by default, in the course of interaction and relationship, we all just bounce around the first three. How you feel about yourself, how you feel about the other person, and how the other person feel about you. That is the area where we just kind of switch from one to the other. It's like driving on a 4-lane road, and you're switching between lane 1, lane 2, lane 3, lane 1, lane 2, lane 3. Whereas the fourth lane is a fast lane that will get you to where you are going, but you are meandering around between the first 3 lanes. So let's quickly now dig deep into them so that we can understand why we default to them and how to get out of that default mode. If this is adding value to you, please say something. Let me know that you're out there and you're with me. I know you're there. Please, I need some love and encouragement. Let me hear what you're saying. How is this going down with you? Do you resonate with this? Can you relate to some of the things that I'm saying in your own personal life? So the first mindset that we're looking at is how you feel about yourself. During the course of any interaction, thank you, Esther Gray. Esther Gray said, I am learning so much, sir. Thank you, Esther. I appreciate you. Thank you. During the course of any interaction, how you feel about yourself is a major point of the outcome. It has a great impact and effect on the outcome of that interaction. What do I mean by that? When you are interacting with somebody, naturally, you start thinking about how you are feeling. It is natural. You are talking to somebody and you are thinking, how am I feeling? Now, let me give you some examples of some of the feelings that will cross your mind. Things like, are you nervous? Are you full of confidence in what you are saying? Is this conversation becoming boring to you? Are you having a good time? Are you annoyed about this other person, about yourself? Sorry, we're talking about you now. Are you nervous? Are you confident? Are you feeling bored? Are you having a good time? Are you enjoying this time? Are you annoyed about something that is now affecting the way you feel in the course of this interaction? Are you feeling embarrassed? I remember my grandfather, when he's telling us a story of something that happened long before we were born, and he was angry at that incident. When he's now telling you the story, that anger will come back, and over time we learn to give him space so that the anger don't fall back on you. How do you feel about yourself when you are interacting with somebody? You see, your mind is focused on these things, on your feeling, on how you're relating, where you are, your state of mind at that instance. Because your mind is focused on that, it will send a message to the person you are interacting with. And what will happen is they're not hearing what you are saying. They are only seeing and receiving the vibes that you're sending out. Let me say that again. When you are nervous, you are shaky, you are bored, you are tired, you are not interested in in this conversation, in this interaction. That is what you are feeling that way. Now, the person you are relating to is not hearing you anymore because they're looking at you and thinking, what's going on? The guy's sweating. He's shaking. He's fidgeting. I don't care what you're saying. They're not hearing you. They're seeing and receiving the vibes of what you are sending. In other words, your brain or your feeling is training your tongue to say something that your mind is not conceiving. The result of that is there will be miscommunication. There will be lack of communication. There will be misrepresentation. There will be misconception. There will be misunderstanding. And before you know it, the whole essence of what you're saying is lost. Just because of the way you are feeling. Have you noticed that sometimes people, they've spent days and months and weeks preparing for a presentation, and the day is upon them, and suddenly they're on the stage and they are frozen? It's not because they don't know what they want to say. It's not because they haven't practiced and rehearsed and learned their lines, but suddenly the emotion of the moment will take hold of them and they are frozen. They'll have stage fright. Or, I don't know if this happened to some of you. I'm sure you will agree with me if you've experienced it. Say you have a favorite celebrity, an actor, a footballer, a sports person, whatever, a politician, for instance, that you so admire. And now you have an opportunity of meeting this person one-on-one. And suddenly, all your plan of when I see him, I'm going to shake his hand, I'm going to give him mine, I'm going to, and then you see this person and you're just frozen on the spot. What's your name? You can't even remember your name. The way you are feeling at that time, the way you feel about yourself at that time will affect the depth, the level, and what comes out of that interaction. So how you feel about yourself is so important in the course of your interaction with people. And you need to remember, you need to bear that in mind. So how you feel about yourself is the first thing. What is your state of emotion? What is going through your mind, your system at the point of your interaction? Number two, how you feel about the other person will also affect or have an effect on your level of interaction. This is what happens. Not naturally it happens. You don't need to do anything. And you will agree with me, it happened to you. Even now as I'm talking, it's happening to you. Somebody is talking to you, or you're interacting, you are relating to somebody. And while the person is with you, you're thinking in your head, do I really like this guy? Do I really want to spend my time listening to this guy? I mean, I could be doing other things. There are other things I could be spending my time on. And you're thinking in your mind about the other person. Remember, we're talking about how you feel about the other person. But more than that, you are watching this person. Is this person nervous? Are they confident? Are they boring? Are they being interactive? Are they really talking to me, or is just wasting my time? You're asking yourself, especially if it's a new contact, you're asking yourself, could this be a friend? Would I really want this guy to be my friend? Or is it just a hi and bye? And all of that is going through your mind in the course of interaction. It's a natural default. We all do it. What tends to happen is the way you were feeling in the first scenario is now reversed to this person, and now they're feeling that way. They're nervous, they are feeling not sure about who you are. And without them saying that, that is what you are hearing. That is what you are hearing. So how you feel about the other person will also determine how open you are to what they're saying. What's their viewpoint? What are they trying to say? How you feel about them, it just kind of gets you either to listen or to want to walk away, literally. And sometimes that is where interactions and connections and relationships, that is where it breaks down. The thing is, while you are thinking about that person, you're thinking, I need to resist myself from being judgmental. I need to resist myself from preempting what this person's viewpoint is. And all of that is clouding the essence of the conversation or the interaction. So the third mindset, as far as social behavioral skill is concerned, is how does the other person feel about you? So we've talked about how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the other person. Now, how do they feel about you? How do they feel about you? So during the course of interaction, you spend a lot of time wondering, what's this person thinking about me? Does he really believe what I'm saying? You are immediately thinking in your head what they are thinking, even though they might not even be thinking along that line at all. But in your head, you're thinking, oh, he's looking at my tie. What's wrong with my tie? He's looking at my shirt. What's wrong with my shirt? And you are thinking for the other person. How the other person feels about you is their concern, but you are taking that upon yourself. They are also wondering, oh boy, just relax. You are making that person uncomfortable. You are making that person to be not sure of where you are and how you are. You are asking yourself, have I got their full attention? Or sorry, they are asking, Because now you are exhibiting some traits of some behavioral traits, and they're wondering, is he here with me? Have I got his attention? He's not even laughing at my jokes. What's the matter? Look at his body language. He's folded his hands. Maybe he doesn't, he's bored. And immediately the essence of your interaction is lost in how the other person is feeling about you. Because you are preoccupied by this thought, you miss out on the essence of the whole conversation. And this is what will happen. If the person, for instance, then say, they ask you a question, because you haven't followed through on what they've been saying, you're scratching your head. And it just goes to show to them that you were not here anyway all along. Imagine you have been talking to somebody for a considerable length of time, and suddenly you think, wait a minute, I'm talking to myself here. This guy is not even here with me. This lady is way out in the Isle of Patmos, all by herself, all by himself. And here am I just yabbering and just talking. I've been talking to the air. It has an effect. It takes away the heart, the soul of your relationship, of your interaction, of the way you relate to other people. So the first one is how you feel about yourself. The second one is how you feel about the other person. The third one is how the other person is feeling about you. And it is in these three modes that we all default to. That is the postcode where we all live as far as relationships and interactions and connections and whatever is concerned. Because it's a default mode. It is a default mode. Now let's look, and these are the three that I said will not. Just imagine the three scenarios I've painted now. What benefit do you think you will accrue to you from that conversation, from that interaction, from that relationship, from that time that you have invested into that exercise? Nothing, because the soul, the essence of the whole thing is lost in how you feel. How do they feel? What do they think? How are they thinking? What are they saying? And you've lost the gist of the story. And you walk away thinking, was I there or was I not? What was that all about? What happened to my 3 hours? What am I getting? Because you allowed yourself to settle down in the default mode. The fourth mindset, which is the one that is beneficial to all of us, as far as interaction and social behavioral skills are concerned, the fourth mindset is how the other person feel about himself or herself as at the point of ending that conversation, that interaction, that time together. How does it feel? Somebody said, everybody is a blessing. Some are a blessing by coming into our lives. Some are a blessing by living. How does that person feel about himself or herself at the point of living? The question is, you ask yourself, just today, Thursday, the 7th of September 2017, think about an interaction you've had today, a conversation, time you have spent with somebody, and ask yourself, how did I feel? What was my overall takeaway feeling at the end of that conversation? What was my overall, how does that person make me feel? You see, real social behavioral skill is attained and it is enhanced when both parties, when they live with a sense and a feeling of elation, of achievement, of purpose, of fulfillment, until we reach that point. Whatever time, irrespective of how long or how well it is a wasted time. It is a wasted time. So we have to come to this mode, this mindset, where someone's, let me put it this way. When somebody you are relating to, somebody you are interacting with, when they discover, when they receive the signal, when they pick up the sense that you are genuinely interested in them and in what they're saying, guess what will happen? They will automatically flip it back and pour the same upon you. The boomerang that you throw out will do the circle and it will come back to you. You see, people like people who like them. You do, I do. I would rather be with somebody that will celebrate me than somebody that will tolerate me. That is a natural human tendency. People like people who like them. So when you have the opportunity to relate, to interact, to fellowship, to be with somebody, be there. Give that person, put that person in a position where they feel you are truly, genuinely, purposefully interested in them, what they have to say, what they are doing, how they're doing it, and all of that. Because when you sow that, it will come back to you in good measure, pressed down, shaking together, and running over. I'll give you an example. Walk down the street, your high street of the town, village, wherever that you live in tomorrow. And everyone you see, whether you know them or not, just smile. Hi. By default, they immediately say, hi. Because that's the boomerang you sent out. But if you walk down the street with your eyes as if you just swallowed pepper, or you just look angry and vicious, guess what? They'll look at you and they'll look away. Because that's the signal you are throwing out. Everybody likes the sound of their name, especially when it's coming from somebody else that they know genuinely, truthfully, sincerely is happy for them. Avoid pretending and flattering because people can see it from 5 miles away. When you have the opportunity, for instance, to do a one-on-one with somebody, look at the person in their eyeballs, in their korokoro eyes. Look straight into their eyeballs, especially when you are commending and appreciating somebody. Don't do it and look away, and if you don't want to know the result, look away now. No. Look straight into the person's eyes and say what you want to say. I appreciate you for da-da-da-da-da. Now, the reason you should look them in the eyes is they may not remember everything you said after they've walked away. They may forget half of what you said, but they will never forget the look in your eyes, the sincerity, the true love that you have in your eyes when you said what you said. If it's appropriate, if it is and when it is appropriate, when you're relating to somebody, in order for the person to feel connected and feel in touch and feel that you actually have them in your mind, reach out and touch them. Put your hand on their shoulder. Hold their hand. If it's appropriate and when it's appropriate, and you have that level of relationship with the person, give them a big hug. Pat them on the back. Let them know that this is real. When you switch rather from your default mode to this number 4 mode, you're the best friend everybody is looking for. You are the best thing everybody wants in their life. When there is a disconnection between how you feel and how the other person feels, it will sink your chances of building a long-lasting relationship. When there's a disconnection. But when there is a connection, oh boy, you are the it. So, having looked at these 4 mindsets, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the other person, how the other person feel about you, and number 4, how both parties feel after walking away from that interaction. When you look at the three, the first three and the last one, you'll agree that the primary mode of most people's social behavioral mindset revolves around the first three. We'll all naturally default to the three, like I said. When you meet new people or new acquaintances, it's not uncommon for you to be self-conscious, for you to be extra aware of yourself, try to straighten your shirt, make sure everything is... It's normal, it's fine to do that, but don't project that into the interaction, into the conversation. The reason is excessive self-consciousness will make the other person, in fact, will make both of you uncomfortable. It will set an air of where everybody is anxious and less confident and thinking, oh, what's going on here? What? And usually when that is the case, what we naturally do as human beings, we try to overcompensate, either by talking louder or by talking longer or by talking too much, and trying to bring ourselves and make ourselves the center of the whole conversation. But it's a mistake to do that. It's a mistake to do that, because when you make yourself the center of the interaction, it's as if you're saying, oh, you're really not needed. I can talk to myself and enjoy my own company. You may walk away from that conversation or that interaction feeling, boy, I nailed it. I mean, I'm the man. Yes, you may be the man. Yes, you may have nailed it. Yes, you may have just gone home with the trophy. But what state have you left the other person? Because until the two of you are happy with what you are taking home, you have really not interacted. You have really not interacted. So what is the solution? How do you wrap this up? How do you ensure that in all of your relationships and interactions and social skill, your social behavioral skills, how do you ensure that you drag yourself, you force yourself, you pull yourself, screaming and shouting to this fourth mindset? How do you ensure that? It's simple. It's profound. It is what is called the principle of reciprocity, the principle of giving and receiving. The principle of, it's a let me catch myself. It's a it is a reciprocal principle. Simply give what you want to be given back to you. When somebody sees that you are genuinely interested in them, like I said, they'll become more interested in you as well. They'll become more interested in you as well. When you make somebody feel good, feel happy, feel complete, feel whole, feel total, those good feelings, they have a way of turning around and coming back to you. I've always said it. The seed is usually and will always be smaller than the harvest. The seed is always smaller and will always be smaller than the harvest. So when you sow a seed of genuineness, guess what is coming back to you? Genuineness multiplied by 100. So if you are not going to do it for the other person's sake, for argument's sake, if you are not going to do it for them, do it for yourself, so that what will come back to you will be a blessing, will be beneficial, will add value, will put springs in your footsteps and make you walk taller and your shoulders raise high, and you'll know it's been a good day. It's been a wonderful day. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the more you think about the other person's feeling, the more you think about the other person's position, and you genuinely, in the course of any interaction, you genuinely take steps to enhance and elevate their feeling and make them whole. The more you do that, in the course of any interaction, the more you go out to achieve that, the more they will reciprocate. their perception of you will be enhanced and elevated as well. Next time, in the crowd of hundreds and thousands, guess what they're looking for to have a conversation with? You. Because of the way you make them feel. But more than that, because of the way they will make you feel, because you have sown the seed and it will come back to you. How you come across to others, listen to this, how you come across to others is less about what you say or how you feel. It is more about how you make them feel about themselves in your presence. How you come across to others, it's not primarily about what you say or what you do or how you feel, or no, it is about how you make them feel in your presence. That will last longer than all the oratory skills in this world. I have been in the presence of people and you think, this is heavenly. I don't want to leave this spot. I just want to tabernacle here. Shall we put 3 tents, one for you, one for me, one for them? Because this person makes me feel whole, makes me feel like a person. We all can do with that. And if we all can do with that, let's all go and sow that. Let us go and give that. Let us go and share that. Let us go and purposefully in our hearts add that to our social behavioral skills, because it will come back to us and we will be better off for it. So shifting your focus into this number 4 mindset, it's not something that is like at a snap of a finger. No, it will require real intention. It will require effort and purpose from you. It will require diligence, and it will take a mindset that is devoid of what is in it for me. Rather, a mindset that says, I want to be a blessing to this person. When you go into any interaction, when you relate at that level, when you perceive and contact and touch other people at that level, you'll be a happy person for the rest of your life. Because what you sow will always come back to you. If this is helping, if this has been a blessing, if you are learning anything from this, please let's go and share this program. Say something, write something, put a comment in the comment box. In conclusion, having said all of this, think about the last time you had the opportunity to socialize with somebody. Think about it. Even if you went into that encounter reminding yourself to act interested in the other person, you genuinely want to pour yourself into the other person, 8 times out of 10, at the end of it, you will realize that you haven't actually spent enough time in making that person whole and complete like you intended from the beginning. But don't beat yourself up about it. Like I said, this is going to require training, active training on your part to deliberately, consciously, purposefully go out to be a blessing. You see, in the heat of the moment, in the heat of your conversation, nervous and self-consciousness will set in. You start, all those 1, 2, 3 will start to play around you. That is the time for you to engage what we did some weeks ago, your voluntary attention. Your voluntary attention is the one that you purposefully put into action. you deliberately switch out of your involuntary attention, which you have no control over, but you dive into your voluntary attention where you have total control over it, and you act in line with mindset number 4. You have to learn to stop and consider, how is this other person feeling about this interaction? What position are they in? How are they enjoying this? Are they in line? Are they flowing with me? Am I giving out the vibes? Because you will know if you're giving out the good vibes, because that's what will be coming back to you. You achieve this level 4 of social behavioral skill by consciously rather, practicing it, purposefully rehearsing it, deliberately going out to do it. Now that you know that leaving someone feeling good about themselves is the key to leaving them feeling good about you, now that we have established that the best behavioral skill as far as interacting with other people or other person or other group is concerned, in order for both you and them to have the best of experience, you have to purposefully go out to make them feel good, not about you, but about themselves. Because when they feel good about themselves, guess what? They will cast that back to you, that you too may feel good about yourself. Now that we've established that, the question now is, how do we go about learning it? How do we go about developing this skill? How do we go about managing, shifting our focus away from the 1, 2, 3 to live permanently, purposefully, foreverly in mindset number 4? The answer to that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we'll be looking at this time next week. I hope this has been a blessing to you. I hope you have learned something. I hope something has dropped on your lap. I hope you have been able to take a crumb, a breadcrumb, a snippet, a nugget, something from this program today has dropped, and you are able to take that away. Because that is my heart desire, that no one leaves this platform today without going home with something tangible, something reasonable, something that will add value to you and to all your contacts and your loved ones. Like I said, if you want to learn how to develop and grow this, if you want to know what do I need to do, how can I deliberately, purposefully learn this mindset number 4, this is what we'll be looking at on this program and on this platform, same time next week. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I say thank you for setting this time out to be part of this program, to fellowship with us on this program today. I hope it has been a blessing. It has been worth your time. Remember, this is a journey of discovery. This is a journey that we purposefully set our focus on, map a path that will lead us to a destination where nobody will be able to argue, but they will have no choice but to confess and testify that truly, surely, these are better men and better women. Don't forget also, our next main event is coming up. Last week I announced that it's going to be on the 14th of October. The reason you haven't seen the flyers and other promotional materials online is because the venue came back to say they can't do the 14th, so we've moved it a week back or a week forward to the 7th. So our next event is going to be on the 7th of October in Eltham. And the title of that event is called Be Positioned. Be positioned. By the close of today or this time tomorrow, all the flyers will be on all the platforms. Please, let's go and talk about it. Let's go and share about it. Let's go and publicize about it. But more importantly, let's pray and believe God together that it will be a time of blessing to each and every one of us. Because we don't want to just gather for gathering's sake. We want to gather, and the blessing of the Lord will be poured out on all of us on that day. I can't wait for that day. I cannot wait, because it's going to be a wonderful time. So remember, the next event is called Be Positioned, and it's going to be on the 7th of October in Eltham. All the flyers, the promotional material, and everything will be out. If not tonight, by this time tomorrow, it will be everywhere. We'll put it also on Eventbrite. So please register, confirm that you are coming, invite your friends, your contact, and together, let's go and have some fun. It's going to be great. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. I appreciate it. I honor you. My name is Tunde Disu, and until I see you again next week, God bless you. Bye-bye.